I'm just a girl doing the best she can. I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl in captivity. Your ruler's thumb makes me worry so. Florence and the Machine. I'm just a girl living in captivity. Your ruler's thumb makes me worry so. I woke up feeling a bit off today, to be honest. I literally went to Sonic, which I never really eat fast food anymore. But I went to Sonic and I was like really craving a Dr. Pepper. So I have my Dr. Pepper here. Maybe you feel like doing something you never do. I was thinking we would do something a little different today. I wanted to like switch up the perspective a bit, and I wanted to come on here and do like a, obviously collective reading, but like more, when I say collective, I mean like what we are going through as the human race together as a whole, collectively. So this is going to be a message for the ones who identify as a light worker, a starseed, a volunteer. If you know about the waves of volunteers, an indigo child, all these labels that we put on ourselves. A chosen one, the remnant. If you're a Christian, you know what I'm talking about. God's army. This is going to be a message for those of you who are aware of what we are going through as a society, as a collective of humanity. Because I don't know if it's Lionsgate portal, and I'm sorry if I'm talking quietly, but my daughter is asleep. Even though you have all this background noise. Anyways, I'm gonna try not to let the ADHD get the best of me today. It just feels like we are moving through this space, this intense ascension that we're going through. And it's like we look around us and it looks like everything's falling apart, which in a way it is. It is falling apart, but it's falling apart so that we can build something new. See, I personally believe that no one is coming to save us. Unfortunately, we have to be the ones, not unfortunately, but I mean, it'd be nice in a way, right? If someone could just come down and like save the day, but I think that would ruin the lesson that we're here to learn as humans. So this is about us reclaiming our power. This is about us collectively remembering, because it can be scary. Like there's a lot of fear, I feel like. And of course that is perpetuated. I don't know if that's the right word. Perpetuated by the church, by society, by the news, by social media, all of these things that we look to that are outside of ourselves, that tell us that we should be afraid. We should be afraid, and we should act right so that we don't go to hell. And that we should wait for Jesus to come back. He's going to come back, and everything's going to be set right. So the challenge is, do we sit and wait? Do we question? Maybe we're not supposed to wait. Maybe the second coming is within us, and we are awakening the Christ consciousness within us, which will then shift everything once we are brought online. Like the switch flips, and all of a sudden we see and we remember. And there's been a lot of talk of like a solar flash over the years. If y'all know about David Wilcock, R.I.P., he was a light worker. He was a heavy hitter, if you want to say. He was a real one. People have their opinions on him, but like as an intuitive person, I feel as though he had very pure intentions. But anyways, let me not get on a tangent because I could go on about that. I was upset about that, y'all. But anyways, he talked a lot about this potential solar flash and how essentially it would hit. Basically, he would say that we are moving through a high vibrational point through space and time. Like we are moving, the earth is moving through to a higher vibrational area, which in turn the sun, so it's like the sun is blasting us with these light codes, right? Sun, earth, like blasting us, right? This Schumann resonance. And there's going to be a wave. There's going to be a wave of us that are going to feel the intensity of it in a different way, I feel like. So the people who have been intentionally doing work and going through the dark nights of the soul, practicing alchemy, transmuting our shadow, doing the soul searching, killing the probably shouldn't say that. The ego death. I believe that, because I asked myself for a long time, like, am I crazy? Why is this happening to me? Why do I feel this way? And you have all these people telling you that you're wrong, or that you're going to hell, or like all this fear and propaganda. And it's like, sometimes we just have to put the books away, go within. We have the answers within us. Christ said that the kingdom of heaven is within us. He didn't say it's in this book. Read your Bible and go to church and get baptized and you will find heaven. He did not say that. So why are we over here preaching this? It doesn't make sense. But anyways, it's been a process. Okay, I believe, or my like prediction or whatever, I believe that we are going to, I feel as though a lot of us are going to start deconstructing our religion. The boundaries, the rigid rules and belief systems of the Piscean age are going to fall away. And it's already happening now. It's already happening. And you know, that can be chaotic, it can be triggering, because you have to think, like, we've been indoctrinated for so long. Okay. I'm gonna try to stay on track with this message because I feel like it's really important. I feel like it's really important, and I know that it's gonna find the people that it's meant to find. It is my intention that this message finds you when it's meant to. This is a timeless message, and this is like where we are at collectively as humanity. This is not gonna be a low vibrational karmic reading about your ex that's coming back around. No, I'm sorry, but we're not doing that anymore. I mean, I'm not doing that as a reader. There's plenty of readers that are. So if that's what you want, go over there. But this is going to be 222 on the timer. This is deeper than that. This is bigger than that. I'm asking you to zoom out for a second, okay? Zoom out beyond personal, individual experience, and zoom out and like just look at the entire earth for a second. Look at the human race as a whole just for a minute, okay? Put yourself aside for a minute, please. Bear with me. This is something that needs to be said, okay? So collectively as humanity, we have been imprisoned, enslaved, we have been drained of our power, we have been confined in a matrix of fear and control for centuries, okay? Yeah, and there is a stirring and awakening that has been taking place for probably like 100 years now. I mean, but it's really been picking up. Like, it's really been picking up since, like, I'd say probably the 1960s. Like, there's been a shift in our consciousness collectively that is causing us to see the illusion, the Maya, like see the dream, awake inside the dream. There's a poem that I wrote about that. I might put it in the description if you're interested, but anywho. So, and I'm thinking about if y'all have ever seen the movie The Dark Crystal. There is so many codes in that movie, so many codes. Jim Henson. So it's like in the movie, this is what I got from it, okay? It's the Skeksis and the Elflings, right? So the Elflings, they're like pure little creatures of, what's the planet? I forgot the name of their planet, but whatever. They're Earth, they're a little planet. They are simple creatures, but they are very spiritual, and they are like connected to source, right? Like they are able to, they have intuitive abilities. They are able to connect with one another through something called dream fasting, where they like touch their hands and then they can like share telepathically to each other. And there is this crystal, and the crystal is what basically gives the planet like life. And there are these beings called the Skeksis, and then basically the Skeksis, they were once good, okay? They were once, it reminds me of like the fallen angels, or like the reptilians, if you know about that, you know. But they were once, connected to God, right? And then they fell and they split, and it was like the dark side, the shadow side, and the light side. So the darkness was the Skeksis, and they're like these like reptilian looking, bird looking, ugly, like they're like the dark manifestation of it. And then there's the mystics, I think, the mystics, and so that's like more the light side. But the whole story is they used to be one, but they split in this polarity, right? And anyways, the Skeksis, they like figured out, so they wanted to live forever. That was like their ego, their thing. They wanted to live forever. They wanted to be eternal. But the thing about it is our souls are already eternal. Our souls are already eternal, but they wanted their bodies to be eternal, right? So they discovered that they could tap into the soul essence of the elflings, or I say it's gelfling. It's the gelflings, my bad. I haven't seen it in a long time, but it's really good. There's a Netflix show, like a spin-off, and then there's the original movie. I think there was supposed to be a season 2, but Netflix canceled it for some reason. Wonder why. It's too real for Netflix. But anyways, so the Gelfling, so they discovered that they could like drain the soul essence of the Gelfling to give them more life, to prolong their physical body. And then I don't think I can say this on here, but maybe I can like spell it out or something. Hold on. Because I want to get this across, but like I don't want to get flagged. This is going to get kind of deep. This is not my typical message here. So they figured out that they could drain the soul essence of the Gelfling to prolong their delusional minds. But it's, if you have a pen and paper, you can write this down. ADRENO, Chrome. C, okay. ADRENOCHROME. Adreno. Yeah, if you know, you know. So, like I said, there's a lot of codes in that movie. Synchronicities. It's a reflection of what we are experiencing and what we have experienced. The things that have come out in the files that we've learned about. And still, you know, nothing has been done. There's a righteous anger here. There's a righteous anger here. But to be honest, I feel like we're not angry enough. And like at the end of the day, I do see us rising up and taking our power back and standing up for the innocents and standing up for humanity as a whole. Because like, it's up to us. Like, no one is coming to save us. Like, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I believe that Christ was trying to show us how to awaken within ourselves. And if we all followed the blueprint, then we wouldn't be in this situation. But the problem is, we got sucked into a psyop around Christ that just left us in this victim mentality that is not correct. I'm sorry, like, and I'm not gonna argue with people in the comments about it. You know, like, if you feel differently, that's, you know, that's your path. But like, as a clear, sentient, intuitive dare I say, psychic person, I feel in my soul and in my heart that the doctrine and the path that Christianity has shoved down our throats is not correct. It does not sit right with me. It doesn't. I just feel like we got it all wrong, you know? Those of us who got sucked into that, those of us who, you know, the New Age to Jesus movement, those of us who didn't have a choice and were just raised in it, like me, and I still get tons of backlash from, you know, my family and friends and stuff sometimes. But that's fine. Like, I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm not the church. I'm not telling you what to believe. This is my experience. This is what I feel in my heart, okay? Anyways, I feel like I'm getting distracted, but there's been a psyop, okay? There's been a psyop, and I want to tell y'all about a dream that I had that I believe was a prophetic dream from Yeshua himself, okay? I fasted for 10 days. I did not eat for 10 days, and I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed, because I was very confused. This was back in 2021. I was very confused. It's funny because I was experiencing spiritual warfare, right? Because that is a thing. That is actually a thing. I was experiencing spiritual warfare. And at the time, I had actually created a YouTube channel back in, well, it's the same channel that I'm on now, but back in like 2020, and I started making videos about ascension. I think it's like one of my first videos on here. I re-uploaded it, but that video is originally from 2020. And I felt aligned. I felt like I was really close to unlocking something. I was really close to being in my soul's purpose. But I started having some spiritual warfare. It scared me. And looking back on it now, I feel like the warfare was coming from the fact that I was so close to stepping into my purpose. But where I was at spiritually at the time, I was like, okay, well, this must mean that I'm doing something wrong. You know, that was my thought process. Like, okay, well, if I'm being attacked, then that must mean that what I'm doing is evil or wrong, right? And so I got scared. And I ran back to the church and I threw my cards away. I threw my crystals in the river. I burned my journals. I did all those things. And, but let me get back to the dream. So I prayed and I prayed because I was like, I'm confused. I need a sign. And it's funny, at the time, I did not even interpret the dream correctly, I believe. Like, looking back on it now, I see it differently. But yeah, I asked for a sign, right? I was like, Jesus, like, Yeshua, please show me the way, because I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. And I had a dream that night, and I was in this valley, okay? I was in this like field, and there was a hill, and I was sitting on the hill. I was sitting next to Jesus. I was sitting next to Yeshua. I was sitting here, and he was right next to me. We were sitting on a hill, and then there was a valley underneath, and we were looking out into the valley. And the crazy thing is, too, he did not even use words. It gives me chills, like, still thinking about it, but he just looked at me, and he was like telepathically communicating with me, right? He did not need to speak. So, because I can't tell you like what the voice sounded like because he didn't speak. But he just sat there. He just sat there. And his energy is like, I can't even explain it. There's not words for it. It was just this like warm, like the highest vibrational, loving energy I've ever felt. And we're sitting there, and he points in the valley, and there's another Jesus in the valley, right? There's another Jesus in the valley. And they look totally like identical. They look the same. He had like a little bit darker skin, long hair, beard, dark hair, darker features. He had darker features. And then the one in the valley looked exactly the same, like I said. But the valley, this is the important part. There was a stage, okay? There was a stage. There was another Jesus. There was all these people. It was a group, probably at least 50 to 100 people, like a big group of people. And then there was all these like extension cords going to the stage, and there was like fluorescent lighting. And essentially he was telling me not to fall for it. Like he was telling me, watch out. He was basically saying like, that's the counterfeit. That's the false light. Like the fluorescent lighting, the cords, the stage, the other Jesus. It was like that was Jesus, and then this is Yeshua. You know what I mean? Like the Gnostic versus like the Gnosis versus the mega church kind of thing. Yeah. So he warned me. He warned me in that dream, y'all. Like he said, watch out. Watch out for the false light. Watch out for, but in my mind, I just interpreted it differently at the time, and I didn't listen. And I went back to the church, and to be honest, the next 3 to 4 years of my life after that point were the most miserable time of my life. Like, I'm not trying to be dramatic. I mean, it was a rough time for a lot of people with COVID and everything, but I was still confused, miserable, having panic attacks all day, every day. It was awful. I would not wish it on anyone, actually. But I just like got sucked back into that victim mentality and feeling like I'm a sinner. I need to be saved. I was born broken. I was born, the idea of original sin, and it's just so much like shame and fear and guilt, and like I really feel like that is the trap, y'all. Like that is the trap. That's the freaking trap. And I didn't think this video was gonna go all into like Christianity, but I don't know. I feel like it's relevant for what we're going through as a collective right now. I do see us deconstructing, but it's like we're being tested right now. Like, are we gonna learn how to tap into our inner knowing, our inner gnosis? Are we gonna learn how to awaken our spiritual gifts the way that Christ tried to show us? Are we gonna follow the blueprint? Or are we going to take the easy choice? Are we going to say, no, we have to do what's in this book that we don't really know who all wrote it or who they were, where this came from, where that came from, but it's the truth, by God. You're a sinner. You're a sinner. Can you tell I was raised in the Bible Belt? Yeah. So I'm not saying that we can't have a relationship with Christ, because I feel like we absolutely should. I feel like he is a powerful spirit, a powerful figure, a powerful energy that we can work with and learn from. But I don't think that he died for our sins. I don't think that we were born imperfect. And like still to this day, I am still working through the fear of even saying that, because that religious trauma like runs so deep, you know, it runs so deep. And like letting go and losing our religion is not about, you know, becoming like an atheist or something, because I don't believe in that either, obviously. Because we are eternal souls and we are connected to God, but God is not just a man in the sky sitting on a throne with a rule book. God is like something that we can't even fathom. God is like an eternal source of light and creation that, like I said, we can't even fathom it. Like our little human brains cannot grasp the fullness and, I don't even know the word, multi-dimensional, like the eternal nature of God. Like we have a hard time fathoming that, right? And like there are things regarding Christianity, the Bible, like there are things that I believe are true. But I think the enemy, we'll say the enemy, right? Okay, the dark force, the Skeksis, the dark force that wants to keep humanity enslaved and asleep and controlled, the Agent Smiths, you know, it seems like what they like to do is that they like to take a little bit of truth and then they like to pollute it or twist it in a way to create confusion and fear. So it's not that everything in the Bible is false, but there has been distortion, and it's very subtle and sneaky, right? But it's there. I don't know if I'm even going to pull any cards. I just wanted to get on here and talk, so sorry if this is not what you thought it was going to be, but if you stayed this far, then I feel like you were meant to hear this and you have an important role to play here. I just can't shake the feeling that something good is going to happen for us, that we will receive our justice, because how long can this go on? How long can the wars, the fear, the starvation, the propaganda, the confusion, the gaslighting, how long is it gonna go on? Like something's gotta give. And I don't know if it's, you know, more people just have to get on here and speak their experience and say like, no, you know, I don't consent to being manipulated in this way. It's easy to feel defeated. It's easy to fall into distraction, to numb ourselves, to feel powerless. But I feel like that's what they want. That's what they want. They want us to feel small. They want us to feel like we don't have that power. And I think that's one of the roles of religion. I think it's a very sneaky psyop meant to take our power from us, to keep us searching, to keep us waiting, to keep us looking outside ourselves for the answers. But at the end of the day, I can tell you one thing with certainty, and that is that light and love and goodness and truth will always overcome fear, darkness. And when I say darkness, I know there's polarity and we're integrating the shadow and blah, blah, blah. I get that. I understand that. But what I'm just, for ease of speaking, I mean the dark forces and the light forces. So like, there are things in the Bible that are correct, right? There are certain things, like I do believe that there is a spiritual war and it's manifesting in different ways on earth, and I think it has been for a long, 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 long time. Maybe I should start like a Patreon or something, because I feel like some of the stuff I want to say, I don't know that I can necessarily say it on here without being banned or whatever, or shadow banned or whatever it is. But the rituals and things that have been done for a long period of time on the more vulnerable ones of our society, the babies, you know. This is something that's been happening since Babylonian times. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. So I'm just wondering, when is the shift? I feel like the shift is happening, but like, when are we gonna fucking remember and take our power back and say enough is enough? I'm not gonna fight your wars. I'm not gonna fund your wars. I'm not going to be manipulated. I'm not gonna be gaslit into shame and fear. I'm not gonna let you put me into a little box. I'm not gonna do it. I feel like there is also a feminine force that is rising. There is something ancient, I think, that is awakening within us. And like I said in the beginning, I think we're gonna have to go through some chaos, some crumbling, before we can build this new foundation. But I feel as though we have beings on the other side that are helping us, that are assisting us. I'm very connected to the Pleiadians, to the Pleiades. I have been for, I guess, my whole life, but they contacted me in 2017. That's when it started. I was waking up at 3:33 in the morning. That's when I started seeing threes. Three, threes. That's my life path, is 3. But yeah, I started seeing blue orbs in my bedroom, and they've been working with me ever since. And they're working with us. They're working with humanity at this time. They are. There's been stories about nuclear, like, power plants or something, like, just shutting down. We had CERN shut down a couple weeks ago. And I don't know about you guys, but I have felt the effects of CERN shutting down. I'm gonna make an effort to make more videos like this also. I'll probably post some of it on my other channel as well. If you're interested in this type of content, it's not always gonna be tarot on this channel. There are times when I just need to show up and speak and let my guides, my star family assisting me to speak through and be a channel in that way. So if that's something that you are interested in, comment, like, subscribe. I'm feeling this fire, like there's a fire within me that's been ignited to show up and speak on the things that I've learned. I was in like hermit mode for a really long time, learning and working through these things. And don't get me wrong, I don't have all the answers. I'm learning. But I feel like it's important for us to have these conversations. I also have a goal of like doing a podcast one day when I'm financially ready to do so. And I would love to like have these kind of conversations and just create a space where we can do that. Because I feel like it's important. It's really, really important right now. Yeah. If this message was a little chaotic or all over the place, I'm sorry, but yeah, I wanted to come on here and speak about it. I think I might just get one starseed oracle because I'm really feeling the Pleiades. I'm feeling my Pleiadian guides with me right now. Okay? And they're assisting us. If you're interested in, if you like consider yourself a starseed, or you've had experiences with other beings, or you're interested in the Pleiadians, I highly, highly recommend the book Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak. That book was like a portal for me. Like it completely, like it just confirmed a lot of things that I felt intuitively. She has a few really good books. But yeah, Barbara Marciniak, Bringers of the Dawn. It talks a lot about what we're experiencing right now. It talks about the awakening in consciousness. It talks about the dark forces, the Skeksis, if you will. And if you haven't seen The Dark Crystal, check that one out. I have my little amethyst here. Like I said, there's so many codes in that movie. Humanity can only be enslaved for so long. Like, enough is enough. This whole 1984 AI hive mind timeline, this technocratic timeline, is not manifesting on this plane. We're not doing it. I declare and I decree justice for humanity. Say it with me. I declare and I decree justice for humanity. I'm aligned with the highest divine timeline for my soul's mission for humanity, for the human race. A timeline of love, peace, abundance, truth, justice. Justice. We are not alone. We're not alone. We are not alone. There are forces that love us and care for us. The great severing, Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. You know how they want to go to Mars so bad? What's that about? What's that about? We are remembering, okay? We are a species. Graham Hancock says, love his work too, by the way, says that we are a species with amnesia. And that is like the truest statement I've ever heard. But the thing about it is, deep down, we remember. Deep down, we know. Deep down, we know. Okay. What's the message for humanity? Angels, ancestors, star family, spirit guides, aligned with the highest divine white light, Pleiadian guides, please come in. Anything not of the light must leave in the name of Yeshua. Archangel Michael, protect this space. This is a bit of a longer video, but I know that it will find those that it's meant to find. And if you stayed till the end, you are a real one, and I appreciate you. And you're not alone. You're not alone. And we're going to make it out. We're gonna make it out. The void, wait, it's not time yet. Things are being woven. It feels like this is where we are. Okay. It's the message for humanity. You incarnated here for a reason. You're different for a reason. Your energy doesn't make sense to people for a reason, but deep down, you trigger an awakening and a remembrance within others that you come in contact with. There's a message for humanity. Star Brothers, loyalty, safety, trust, Horus energy, activation, integration. Okay, the great severing, Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. This is a shadow card, okay, because we're speaking on, hold on guys. Okay. All right. So, the great severing, Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. This is a shadow card, one that may feel confrontational. Don't be afraid. It's here to bring to the surface anything that's standing in the way of letting love in. The warring planet of Mars is our constant reminder that it's important to soften, forgive, and find our way back to love. There are many things in the human experience that make it difficult for our heart and soul to stay open to the never-ending source of love, God. We're all wounded, and our unconscious wounds inflict wounds on others. It can feel like a never-ending dance we can never escape. If we aren't careful, before long we'll see the world as a scary, dangerous place where fear and anxiety roam free. If this card surfaces, it could be one or two reasons. First, for you to acknowledge the difficult emotions, situations, conflicts, wounds, and fears that are causing your pain and anxiety. Secondly, for you to find your way back to love. When we're hurt, it's normal to close off our heart to the world, to let the painful experience confirm the agony of separation in earthly life, soften and find your way back to love anyways. When fear, anxiety, and paranoia paralyze you, it's normal to want to hide away from others in the world. Come out of your cave and soften your heart anyways. We're all innocent children spinning our way around the world. Find a way to see the innocence in all people, especially yourself. So it's like this shadow energy that has been keeping us stuck and afraid and wounded and in victim mode. Then we have Star Brothers. We're being assisted, like I said. Even if we can't see them, they're here. The distortion and the psyop of it is them telling us that these beings are evil, that they're here to abduct us, to take from us. Some of them are not good. You know, some of them have their own agendas, I will say. I feel that, but I do feel as though we have beings that are essentially our brothers or sisters from the stars, that they're not that different from us, that they have seen things that we have yet to see, that they are in a place of their evolutionary cycle that is beyond where we are at this time. And I feel as though they're here to be a guiding light, to show us, to help us navigate this ascension. We are going through an ascension. An ascension of our consciousness essentially means that our minds are expanding, our spirits, everything is shifting for us. We're seeing beyond the illusion. We're seeing that we're more than a body. We're more than a personality. We are an eternal soul having a human experience, and we're all connected to God. We could never be disconnected from God. Okay? So why would an all-loving, all-knowing source separate us and put us in hell, you know? Doesn't really make sense to me. But anyways, to each his own. Star Brothers, Horus energy, protection, loyalty, safety, and trust. You're more protected than you can imagine. Benevolent beings you are connected with. Yeah. Star Brothers want you to have a new experience of life on Earth. They want you to feel deeply secure and safe, even if you're going through a difficult time. They want you to hand over your fears to them, to see them as opportunities to let in more love. They're guiding you to stay open to receive a greater level of support than you can ever imagine. To call in your team of loyal protectors and supporters, both physically and energetically. They want you to learn to soften through life's ups and downs, and to learn to open your heart, especially when it most wants to harden. So this is about strength, protection, loyalty, trust, courage, the great severing. It feels like a split, you know, like a split of our consciousness happening. Fear and love, trust and distrust, harmony, chaos. That's what it feels like. Deck is amazing. The Starseed Oracle, and just the way they describe it in the book, like, is really helpful, you know. And I just feel like it's, like I said, this message, I don't care if it reaches 2 people. If it's 2 people that stay to the end, that's good enough for me. Like, so if you did, thanks a lot. Because I'm no longer running from my purpose. I am no longer running. Okay? So, I am here despite the religious trauma, despite what, you know, people who knew me 10 years ago may think, despite what my friends or family may think, you know, I'm here, okay? I'm here because this is where I'm meant to be. This is the space in which I am meant to occupy. And if you have a problem with it, you don't have to be here. So, if it is not aligned with you, that's perfectly fine. But I am answering my soul's calling, and I have been doing so for the past year. And I will continue to do so. And I will continue to speak in the spaces on the topics that God, Spirit, my angels and ancestors guide me to do. So, and then lastly, we have the Blue Flame. This is a card about awakening, activation, and integrating the spiritual downloads, integrating what we've learned. How is it showing up? The Blue Flame. This is a card of awakening and energetic upgrades. This is what's happening to humanity. Perhaps you're going through a period of spontaneous awakening, receiving visions and having experiences that are out of the ordinary. In the West, little is known about the process of spontaneous awakening. It can feel very scary when we're going through it alone. Elsewhere, they can be seen as auspicious experiences, with those going through them being treated with tender care. The blue beings are thought to be activating beings who with great potential for healing and upgrading our cellular structures. They appear in moments of extreme awakening, activating a physical Kundalini awakening and deep cellular and DNA healing. Many people glamorize the awakening process. However, in reality, it's much messier and more difficult than most of us believe. We must first let go of what we think we know for sure and how we make sense of the world. This isn't easy. The awakening process, even when it's spontaneous, takes a considerable amount of time to integrate, and awakening without integration can leave us feeling very ungrounded. If you're in the midst of an awakening, the process never ends. Treat this time as deeply sacred and give yourself ample space to ground and integrate the extreme changes that you're going through. I allow myself to surrender to the awakening process that's right for me. I take things slowly and integrate my experience each and every day. Okay. Yeah, so that's the message. We are collectively awakening to the truth of the universe, to our own eternal gnosis. We are remembering what it means to be in alignment with Source, God. The veil is being lifted. We are seeing the shadow side. We are seeing the darkness. We have a choice to make if we want to continue being enslaved or if we want to take our power back and remember who the F we are collectively. And I'm just here as a messenger, as a conduit. But yeah, that's that. And, I hope and pray that we do take our power back and we do see and remember. Yeah. So, like I said, if you made it to the end, thank you so much. And if you enjoyed this kind of content, let me know. like I said, I want to do like a podcast one day and really just get into the nitty-gritty of the human experience. Okay. I love y'all. I hope you have a great day. I hope this was informative or hopeful, inspiring in some way for you. And I will see y'all in the next message.